Hello everyone. In this video, I'm going to show you that how you can test your API using the Postman. To give you a simple example, I have taken a website called JSON placeholder. In this website, you can see that there is a simple URL. So if you call this simple URL, you will get a response. Okay. So if you run script that, you will get that a simple response with that user ID, title complete. So this way. Okay. Now how this endpoint or how we can execute this API in our Postman, let's see that. So this is a very simple thing. As you can see that when we click the run script, it is giving me some data. So we are getting some data to this website, right? So how we can do that? We can simply copy this endpoint and open our Postman. So this is the Postman tools. And in this Postman tools, you can see there is a multiple options called get, post, put, patch, delete, head option. So these are the method. So what we are trying to do that, okay? To generally, if you want to get some data, like if you want to fetch some data from a server side, you can use the get method and then put the endpoint. Okay. Now, once you put this endpoint and click the send, you will get a response from there. So we are expecting some response, and that response we are getting that. Okay. Now, as you can see, this one is seems to be a parameter. So if we pass this instead of one, if we pass the two, we'll get the different response. Okay. So we pass the two, and then we can get a different response, as you can see as a title. So this way you can fetch, if you have some endpoint, you can fetch some data from any third party using the Postman. Now I'll show you another tools called ServiceNow. So this is a ServiceNow tools. In this ServiceNow tools, you can also fetch the data. Okay. Now, there is a small difference between ServiceNow and then this JSON placeholder. What is the difference? So as you can see that in this JSON placeholder, if you query to this particular API, you will get some response, but there is no authentication required. It means that you don't need to say that I am the user. You don't need to authenticate yourself. It's a public API. Anyone can consume and get that, right? But some of the organizations like ServiceNow, then Microsoft, Azure, or maybe other API that need to authenticate yourself. So to do that, you need to authenticate yourself, and then only you can use or consume their API. Okay. Let me show you that why I'm telling you. So for example, let's say that your service provider give you an endpoint. I'm going to fetch some data from a service now. So this is my service now instance. And then to fetch the data, I need to authenticate myself. Otherwise, it's not publicly available. Okay. So let me show you that how. So let's say that I'll go and then paste here this instance name. Then I'll put like API slash now slash, I'll put a table name. So let's say that I'm going to fetch the data of the incident table. And then if I click send button, as you can see that I'm getting a user is not authenticate. So I'm getting a user error. I'm getting a error to fetch this table information. Now, how to resolve this? So we need to authenticate ourselves. Either you go back to the ServiceNow team to get the details. Let's say that I need this information, authentication information, and paste under authorization sections. Here, you can go here and then select call. Depending on what type of user they are providing, you set and then click the send button to get the data, or else I'll show you that how we can do that. So for the service now, let's go back here. There is a user table. So you can go to this user table, create a simple user in the service now. Let's say that so we created a user called test API. Now we need to set some role and we need to set some credential for that. Okay. So let's say that we'll go here, click edit option. Now here we need to provide some role. Okay. So we'll say that web service admin and then save that. So this user have ability to fetch that. Now we need to set the password. So we'll click the set password here and a password will be generated, and then we will copy this password and then save that. Okay, the password has been saved. And here you can see that password needs reset checkbox is checked. It means that the user has to be reset the password themselves. Will not uncheck this one and save that moment. Okay. Now we got a credential. We'll go here into my Postman. We'll go and then select the basic. As we have the username and password, so we'll put the password here that I have received. And then I will put this user ID here, and this time we'll click the send button, and then once we do that it should give me some data. Now once we did that, you can see that the basic authentication error is gone. So it means that there is no basic authentication issue is there anymore. We got credential, we got the password. Now we need to put the correct endpoint because it's saying that URI does not represent any resources. To resolve that, what we have to do, we have to put here call in a table slash incident. So we are going to fetch the information, table information. What table? The incident table. So we are going to fetch the table information from the incident. We'll put that table slash incident and then click send button. As you can see that I'm getting a result equal to empty. So some reason I'm not getting the expected result. To resolve that again, what you have to do, you have to go to this role section. As you know that previously we give that web service admin. Now what we are trying to do that, we are trying to fetch the incident information. Generally to fetch the incident information, service now need that ITIL role. So we'll give that ITIL role to this user and then save that. Once we save that, it is perfectly fine. We should be able to fetch the data. Let's see if I click the send button and still I'm getting the result equal to empty because this time it's happening because of the cookies. So we have an option called cookies, and then here you need to clear these cookies because still it is expecting it is behaving with the same user role. So we need to remove the cookies and click the send button again. Once we send that, you can see that I'm getting a good number of data. Here you can see that in a raw format, preview format or visual format, you can see that pretty much good information we are getting. We are getting the incident information. So this way you can fetch any information using the Postman. So that's it for today. If you have any question, let me know in my comment section. Thank you very much.